Point. When I got elected in 2008, my name was on the ballot with President Obama. So when President was running for president the first time, I was running for mayor, and that was a pretty cool deal, right?
Right.
So I got elected, and he got elected. So then I just got reelected, and he just got reelected. So one of my honors is I got a chance to go around the country and campaign for him to help him get reelected. Y'all know who this is, right?
Yes.
Who's that?
Obama.
President
Obama.
Thank you,
Thank you.
President.
Say it again.
President
Let me hear you say it. Perfect. So there's a brother who was running his campaign to get reelected. He's in town today, so can I bring him up and introduce him real quick? Come on up, Mr. Walker. He was a part of the team, led the team to help get President Obama reelected. He's visiting Sacramento today. So I figured rather than ask me a question, because I see y'all all the time, you got to ask him something about the president or the campaign. So y'all got to ask him something. This is basically from the president's right-hand man here. So who got a question for him?
Make it good.
Yeah, powerful. Thought provoking.
You want to start him off, Don? You can start him off if you got a question. Anybody can ask a question.
Come on, I'm just watching those minds turn. There you go, Leslie.
Tell him your name and then.
My name's Legend Brandenburg. And does Barack Obama, is he a funny person?
He is probably one of the funniest people I've worked with. Has a good sense of humor. First of all, he's the kind of person that you would love to work for. 100% serious, but is a jokester and has a good time and gets many of us several times. I actually learn a lot from him, and I pass it on to a lot of people as well.
Do you have a practical joke that he's ever played on you, or something that you done played on somebody else just because of the way the type of president he is?
Yeah, have you guys ever seen him like on television and you go, wow, he looks like he's mad? Like whenever he's angry, he does this thing where he like bites his lip like. And we were at an event that wasn't going so well, and we all knew it wasn't going so well. And he was just kind of back in the corner. And he looked at me like this.
You know how your parents look at y'all sometimes?
I'm looking for somebody else to pass it on to, but it's just me. And then after it was over with, he like had me explain like what happened, and I'm like, well, sir, I'm trying to come up with excuses. He goes, obviously. My heart was like.
All right, cool. Go ahead. Stand up. Tell them your name and what grade you in.
My name is Tejon King, and I'm in the 8th grade. And what's like the best part about working with him?
Good question.
That's a very good question. I was one of the people who, when I first saw then Senator candidate Barack Obama in 2004 speaking at the Democratic National Convention, he spoke to me, like directly to me, just the way he was laying out a vision for the future. And I said to myself in 2004, 20 years from now, this guy's going to be great, and hopefully I'm around to jump on whatever he plans to do. I had no idea it was going to be 2 years later that I stopped with my life, what I was doing, and jumped and started volunteering in the campaign. And the thing that I think separates Barack Obama from many other presidents or any other elected officials is he says what he means what he says, and has done exactly what he set out to do way back when he was a community organizer in South Chicago. And so I think that's, again, a lesson for all of us to learn is part of your life has to be a principled one. And so when you stick to what you believe in, no matter what other people might be saying, when other people are saying you cannot do this, it's absolutely impossible, if you have a vision and get other people to buy into that vision, that's how you're going to be great. And I think that's one of the things that President Barack Obama does better than anyone else.
Okay, wait, I got a question for y'all. He said President Obama is one of the few elected officials who says, wait, say it again?
Says what he means and means what he says.
Who says what he means and means what he said. Who else y'all know that's an elected official that says what he means and means what he says? Who? That's what I'm talking about. Right there. Awesome. All right. Yeah,
That was a trick
question. That's the people in the stand. They don't count. I'm talking. All right. So I'm going to ask you a question, and then we're going to take one last question. So my question for you is, when you think about President Obama, you guys heard his last answer. Tell him your story, a little bit of your story about you were doing something. You actually quit what you were doing I just think this is fascinating.
So, 100 years ago, actually I worked in a mayor's administration back in Houston, Mayor Lee Brown, who was the first African-American mayor of the city of Houston. And same sort of thing, I was motivated by his campaign, worked really hard on his campaign, and I ran the HIV and AIDS program. After it's over, I kind of formed a small business that was doing consulting work, so we were doing a combination of coaching of people who wanted to be stronger executives and helping nonprofits grow and thrive. And I was doing pretty well, to be honest with you. We had a couple of niche markets, like city governments love to hire us to do strategic plans for them. So we wrote a tremendous strategic plan for Houston, and we would go to Dallas and erase Houston and put Dallas on it.
Don't pick up these habits.
And hey,
You basically saying,
consulting tips.
Right.
no, I'm trying to teach them to do the homework, right?
No, but it was seriously, we took actually it was the structure of what we came up with. So we didn't take Houston's plan and give it to Dallas, but it was the structure of how you build great and sustainable cities. And again, when the president first announced, my first job on the campaign was a volunteer. You know, I actually rented an office in Houston, Texas, that I paid for, and we were making calls into Iowa, because step one of Barack Obama moving forward was to win Iowa. So we formed our own Houston for Obama office. We made thousands of phone calls every single night. And then after the president won the Iowa caucus and the campaign team was really starting to explode, I just hopped in my car and started driving. So the next primary was in Mississippi, where the president won the state, came back to Texas and started driving around Texas, organizing and training people how the Texas does its primary system, which is very different. Kept driving, went over to North Carolina, where I organized Robeson County, which is one of the biggest and poorest counties in the state, and then was fortunate enough to get hired on for the general election. So for the first 9.5 months that I worked for the president, I was paying my own salary, paying my own way, and doing everything. And again, it was because I absolutely believed in everything that he said, and I feel that exact same way now. And I probably shouldn't say this out loud, but if I had to do my job as a volunteer right now, I absolutely would do it, because I believe in what I'm doing and for the person I'm doing it for.
All right, that's awesome.
That is
All
all.
right, last question, go ahead.
Stand up, name and all that.
My name is Bill Foster, and I know, like, what's it like when you come across, like, haters? Like, not, I hate them like that.
That's a
Good
good
question.
question. In the political realm, that's what I do every single day. I deal with the people who have been trying their best to deny the president from moving forward, so particularly the Republicans in the Congress. And so the good thing about this president and many other electeds is when you've got the community of supporters behind you, it doesn't matter what the haters say. So we just ran a campaign for the last 2 years where the president said, come December, we're going to have to pay the piper here. And we are going to move this country forward, and we're going to do that by getting everyone to pay their fair share, and we all play by the same set of rules. So you're seeing that playing out right now if you're watching what's happening in the Congress, where you've got the haters, as you describe it, saying, no, we actually want to try this other thing that we know didn't work, it never worked before, it's not going to work now, but we're still going to hold in. And the great thing about people who support the president is having their voices heard. And I think that's another thing that President Barack Obama has done better than anyone else, is giving people a voice into his administration.
Okay, I'm gonna ask a follow-up on his. Do y'all know when the president gives a State of the Union once a year? Y'all know what that is? Anybody know what that is? You professor.
So every January, the President of the United States addresses the Congress, and that's usually the time where he lays out his vision legislatively for the year. So it usually happens right around January 20th, or the week right after that.
All right, so president is talking to all the senators and all the congressmen. Y'all with me? In January, saying, here's what I want to do the next year. This is the time that everybody in there, whether they're a Democrat or Republican, they're supposed to respect the president like never before. Y'all with me? Like, just respect. Do you have somebody that you may not get along, but you always gonna respect their parents, right?
Yeah.
You know, you just pay respect. The president is actually giving his speech. Somebody in the audience yelled out in the middle of the speech, which never has happened in the history of the country. Ever. Y'all with me?
Yes.
So how did he handle that? 'Cause that would be a very specific, because there was a hater in the audience.
Yeah.
He kept moving.
What did the guy say? He's like, what did the guy say?
Oh, he said, you lie. It was actually a member of Congress from South Carolina. And he literally yelled out, "You lie."
So imagine it, I'm speaking, you be the congressman first. I'm speaking, hey, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so glad to be here today.
You lied.
Like like you just don't do, nobody does that.
Right.
And they did this to the President of the United States of America. Go ahead.
So I think the wrong thing to do, to have done, and it probably would have been the thing I would have done, was just to take them on. But again, President Barack Obama is different than many other people I've ever seen before, and what he did instead was kept moving. I'm not even going to acknowledge this that just happened over here. And I'm going to keep talking to you about what my vision is for America. And again, I think that's a lesson for all of us. There will be many haters that we will encounter in our lives, and we can go down with the hate and battle with the hate, or we can keep moving forward. And we should continue to make sure that what we're doing is moving America forward.
John, you asked a question?
Well, no, I was just saying that's a great way to end that, because I think we were watching the great debaters before you all came in. One of the questions one of our brothers asked the kids was, do you know a quote? They were throwing out different quotes. We then said, okay, power concedes nothing without demand, never has, never will. Who said it? I think one of the boys said Frederick Douglass, and then we started talking about that. So I think that's perfect. As the President of the United States, he's doing his thing. So even if somebody out there is hating, you can't stop to go down. You got to stay up and keep moving. I think that's an excellent message to the boys for them to hear.
Give Mr. Walker a round of applause.
Mr. Walker, yes, sir.
We'll take a photo now.